I am not a very good filmmaker, but I'm making these videos anyways. I am a pretty good photographer, so I take and share a lot of photos. I'm an okay writer. I've written 2 novels. I'm working on a 3rd one while I'm in this MFA program. And I have dealt with depression and anxiety for most of my adult life. Army stuff. I would get stuck in these loops where I'd rehash old events over and over again, or I'd rehearse future fears and concerns about what could go wrong. And no amount of thinking harder or wishing it away would make it go away. I found a way out, though, not through therapy alone, not through medication alone, and not through yoga alone, though all of those are fantastic and wonderful tools. I found it through creating, through making things, through making art. I started writing because I needed a place to put things that I couldn't keep in my head anymore. I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I just needed a break. I didn't write about myself. It wasn't a memoir. It wasn't short stories. It wasn't poetry. I went directly into writing a novel. One of the more difficult things to do. I was drawn to crime fiction. I was writing a mystery set in rural Idaho. But the story that I was writing was too similar to my life. It was too similar to me. The characters that I was writing about had lived lives that were too similar to the life that I had lived. That wasn't my intention. I was just writing what I knew. Eventually it became overwhelming, or maybe it was just too difficult, and I put it aside for a while. After some reflection and a lot of reading about the craft of storytelling and writing, I picked it up again. This time with a clearer understanding of what I was doing and that I was looking at a version of me. I created a character called Karl Warren. He was an avatar, maybe for me, but maybe for somebody that had lived through some rough times and was trying to work his way back into a sense of normalcy. He made some of the same mistakes that I did, avoided the same conversation. He ran from a similar past, the same fears, had the same ghosts and demons. In some ways, Karl is a better person than I am, and in some ways, he's a worse person. Here's Karl after discovering something horrible on his property. Call the chief? No. I had to go drink heavily and drink quickly before my brain exploded. My years of counseling, therapy, meditation, and yoga had taught me that alcohol was one of the weakest tools to use when a trigger struck. But I told myself that this wasn't a trigger. I had recognized it and shut it down before it would become one. So the alcohol wouldn't be a weak tool in this case, right? Writing him helped me take the bad times from my past and look at them squarely, to acknowledge them as remnants of history. I was able to fictionalize these moments, to make them something other than the scary monsters and thoughts that they had been in my head. Something with cause and effect, something I could control. What was chaos in my head became something I could examine on the page. This wasn't about making art at this point. It wasn't about making a bestseller. It wasn't about building an audience. It was a type of survival. And somehow, slowly, it worked. I got a novel out of it, and I got my head out of my ass. Here's why I think creation works when other things may not. First, you have to be present. To frame a photograph, or to write a sentence, or to edit a video, you genuinely have to be present in the moment. Your mind can't be anywhere else, or you're not going to be able to do the task. The work demands your attention. You have to be there. There's too many technical or creative details. Second, it externalizes what's internal. Writing Karl Warren, this damaged character trying to find his way back to a sense of calm and normalcy, allowed me to see my own patterns outside of my head. The swirling thoughts stopped being just feelings. They became words on a page. They became something that I could see instead of feel. That distance was clarifying and empowering. Third, the act itself matters more than what you create. Kind of like making shitty YouTube videos. The doing. Your hands are busy, your eyes are moving, you're observing, you're thinking about what's around you, you're thinking about the next word that you're putting down on the page. That's when you're actually present. The bad photos or the messy words or the messy paragraphs or pages that you're making, the messy drafts, the failed attempts, they matter. They're part of it. They count. They're part of the record of where you've been. Creating doesn't fix everything. It doesn't fix anything, really. But it gives you a way to be present with what actually is in your life instead of being with the shame from your past or the fears of the future. This isn't about depression or anxiety. It works when you're feeling stuck, or when you're grieving, or when you're in a transition, or you don't know who you're becoming yet. Creating isn't an escape, it's an engagement with real life, with the present, with your environment. It's becoming one with the present moment and seeing and feeling what's around you. At 56, I'm starting over here in Germany, and all of my former identities have slipped away. Language, nationality, place, everything familiar fell away at once. By choice. I'm happy about it, don't get me wrong. But this practice of creating art in the form of either images or the written word, it keeps me grounded. Not because it solves any problems, but because it pulls me into the now and into the present. And my now is pretty good, even though I live on a boring street and I have a good view of the backside of a supermarket. Right now, I am working on an active list of projects, photographic and writing. I don't know where they'll lead to, but by staying busy with them, I am actively staying engaged with the world around me. I'm not selling any of my prints. I don't expect any of my videos to go viral. I hope all 9 or 10 of you that watch the video will enjoy it. The act of creating keeps me grounded in reality, and frankly, it's helping me enjoy life and the world around me right now, to enjoy the true reality of where my life is at the moment. Not to fix myself, but to be here, to be present, and that's good enough for right now.